Andrew Tate's prison stay extending in a little bit. But before we do that, let's pick up where we left off, okay? Steven Crowder, for those of you who did not watch the coverage yesterday, decided to pop the fuck off randomly last week and say that, you know, he had a contract with someone and he was in a contract negotiations with a group. Okay, he won't name who, but like everybody understood it was Daily Wire, except for Jordan Peterson, who's stupid. And that he felt betrayed by this contract. Now, he said it was wage slave. He was like wage slavery. So much fucking, you know, so much control over Steven Crowder. He was like, it's unacceptable. Turns out the contract was for $50 million over the course of 4 years as a starting point. Like, that was like the starting point of the negotiation. Steven Crowder came back and popped off and said, oh, $50 million? Well, guess what? I actually want $140 million. And to be honest with you, I don't even understand what's going on at that part. Like, I don't know if they're on meth, if they're on crack, like what the fuck's going on that like conservatives are just like running numbers. It's so crazy. Big Mike texted me and was like, dude, who's getting this kind of money? Like, what the fuck's happening here? It's unimaginable. Like, I mean, it's not a normal media contract. I'll tell you that much. Okay. You know, these like fat YouTube deals or fat fucking, you know, mixer deals and shit that were like one-offs that'll never happen again. Like, those contracts are not that big. Like, Steven Crowder, who is less relevant than myself as we looked at all of the, you know, metrics, is not generating that kind of output. He's paid like 5 to 10 times more than he produces. Remember when Boring admitted it wasn't about revenue, not profit? Exactly. So some of the best parts about this, some of the best parts about the saga was when Jeremy Boring, the CEO of the company, the co-CEO of the company, alongside Ben Shapiro, I believe, came out and did a 50-minute video. We watched the 50-minute video. It was fucking nuts. He just basically revealed that most of the right-wing operations that Steven Crowder has been a part of has been funded by billionaires, like right-wing billionaires, PJ Media and all the like. He literally just said it. Like, he openly said it. He said two really important things in the video when he was responding to Steven Crowder leaking the documents. Two key parts of this was basically, Hasan, you're right, you know, conservatives are running media operations where they just funnel a bunch of money into it because they don't give a shit. They value agitated propaganda. They value the type of propaganda conservatives put out there. And he also said, Steven Crowder, you need to be better at doing dog whistles. Like, we love when you paywall racism, like Only Clans, okay? We love that shit. But you need to be doing better fucking dog whistles because you can't be getting banned out here, homie. And to be fair, I mean, it's just, it was a wild thing to watch. Steven Crowder then turned around and then made another video saying, and he had recorded the conversation that he had with Jeremy Boring. I lost my fucking mind. I can't believe this is real. Us leftist creators are ironically the self-made men that these conservatives worship, and they get all the welfare incredible. Yeah, I mean, it's literally, it's like busy work for fucking losers who couldn't make it. You know what I mean? Like, they couldn't cut it in Hollywood. They couldn't cut it in entertainment. So they are now conservatives. And like, they know that there is just a fucking press out there. Like, they're just fucking minting. They're selling the $1 trillion coin so they can keep this thing going for conservatives. It's just like claiming HasanAbi is self-made. I mean, we in the Twitch space do not get the same kind of support that the conservative media ecosystem gets. Of course, I'm not like self-made. No man is self-made. Of course, I had profoundly privileged beginnings, especially with respect to working at the Young Turks. But considering that like my reach has now multiple times larger than TYT itself, like, obviously, like, you know, it's not like Jank is fucking paying you motherfuckers to be in here, right? He doesn't even gift subs at the top of the hour so that you can avoid the ad break at the top of the hour, which is 3 minutes long, of course, because at the top of the hour, there is that 3-minute ad break. And if you get gifted a sub, you can avoid it. If you are not lucky enough to get gifted a sub, you can purchase a $5 a month subscription to avoid it. You can also, if you don't have $5, subscribe for free with a Twitch Prime. The Blackfish Tully, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Jay's Musings, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Sammy Salami, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Allowing 15 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Has too many channel points. Thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Well, you got to stop believing in my Valorant gameplay if that's the case. Sakura Gore, thank you for the 5 gifted. So, anyway, please comment on Ben's fit. Is Cord Jagger with Henley okay? No, of course not.
Discuss conservative comedian Steven Crowder's attacks on Jeremy Boring and the Daily Wire. A runaway girl is kept from her parents because they supposedly misgendered her, and the cost is horrific. And Joe Biden says he has no regrets about storing classified documents.
Okay, this is like the entire thing. I wanna see just the. I don't give a fuck about his transphobic shit. Okay, I only care about the drama.
Told him in very rough times. I had personally attempted to intervene.
Jesse W. Photo, thank you for the 5 gifted. Miss Melzy, thank you for the 5 gifted as well.
When very
like, these guys are all shitheads. These guys are all shitheads, but they're also friends. Okay? They're friendly shitheads. Like, they actually like one another, which is so odd to think about because, like, they're all such awful, disgusting people. But I guess, 838, not bad. I did not make up Jeremy Boring. That's literally his name. Yeah, they're not like they're not just like friends because they're transphobic together. Friends who are transphobic together stay together type thing. Like they just also, I guess, appreciate each other's company and shit. Like I don't know what the fuck you talk to one another about. You know what I mean? I just don't know. Like the conversation's got to be so mid. You know what I'm saying? Like the convos have to be awful. Like what are you talking about? Hunter Biden's penis. So crazy the Democrats are hiding that, huh? Kids these days, they're so woke. Crime in LA? I don't know. Okay, anyway, let's keep going.
I know that my business partner, Jeremy Boring, has made him sick to his stomach as well because we had always considered Steven a friend. I was Steven's first lawyer. I helped negotiate his contract with Fox News. It's going all the way back. It's got to be at least over a decade. And Steven and I had always been very friendly. I know Jeremy was even friendlier with Steven. Had counseled him in very rough times. I had personally attempted to intervene when Steven was demonetized in June 2019 on YouTube. I actually sounded off so loudly that the people at YouTube reached out to me, and Susan Wojcicki, the head of YouTube, got on the phone with me, and I reamed her out over demonetizing Steven. And
don't you find that a bit strange? That like YouTube, this tech giant that's supposedly communist, is demonetizing and silencing right-wing people, but like Ben Shapiro gets an audience with Susan Wojcicki? That's odd. That's really interesting. I'm just saying that is very odd that like these guys constantly complain about like tech monopolies, which exist by the way, and how fucking biased tech is. It's like a fundamental plank of like right-wing agitprop is like how big tech is always against us, Meanwhile, they have access, direct access to the fucking CEO, dude. Come on. He's not lying, chat. They're not censored. It's fucking bullshit. There are very clear-cut boundaries on things you can't do on this fucking platform. If you post the entirety of the Transformers movies, you're going to get banned, okay? If you are openly, aggressively fucking racist, then you're going to get banned. There's a reason why Ben Shapiro doesn't get banned, because he knows how to toe the line. He knows what to say. A small taco, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. That's it. Ironically, Boring was telling Steven Crowder to also not, go overboard, paywall the racist stuff that he loves. He loves when Steven Crowder gets racist. That's why they wanted to hire him. Just don't do it so aggressively that you get banned. On the other hand, leftists are represented by Ludwig. Yeah, I mean, Ludwig is not. Ludwig would never get a YouTube contract if he was a leftist, as in, like, if he was making leftist content. He himself is progressive, okay? He has a lot of values that align with mine, but that's not his content. You know what I mean? Yes, I stole Jeff's comb, and I love it. I love this thing. It's so sick. It's so powerful, like the spring of it. Anyway.
I hope it made a difference. You know, look, I think that Steven is an incredibly talented comedian. I also think that what he is doing to my friend Jeremy Boring right now is one of the most disgusting things I have ever seen in politics. It really is one of the ugliest things I've ever seen. In order to understand what's happening, I think you have to understand a couple of things. So for those who missed the story, basically, we offered Steven a term sheet, a non-binding term sheet. A non-binding term sheet is exactly...
It's gross. I'm sorry. Like, I don't even give a fuck about the all the awfulness that they pump out. I think the most offensive thing that these dipshits say is Steven Crowder is a talented comedian. Like, the entire rest of this is going to be like transphobic screed, and it's still the most offensive thing, okay? You cannot say that. You can't say that, man. That is like... It's like objectively untrue, like being a flat earther, but also simultaneously like gross and immoral to say. It's literally like it's more offensive than anything else he could say.
Exactly what it sounds like. It is a list of terms for a proposed negotiation for a contract. And then negotiation happens, then you come to a final contract. That is what a non-binding term sheet is. His agent had solicited us to make him an offer. This is when he was in his closing days with the Blaze. And so we sent him over a non-binding term sheet for $50 million over the course of 4 years with an additional 2-year option at $25 million. That is, as it sounds like, a lot of money. But we thought that Steven is worth it because Steven is, again, an incredibly talented guy with a very, very large...
It's just like I physically cringe every time I hear anyone say, Steven Crowder is an incredibly talented guy. Like, he's not even the best racist. You know what I mean? Like, what league is he in where he's good? Like, if we're talking competitive racism, like, he's not even the best. What is he talented at? He's like at best he's like 4th. Okay? He's not even getting a bronze medal at racism. Come on, man. He's got all those impressions. No, that's the point. He has nothing. His impressions are not even like good. When he tries to be racist, he's literally doing like old ass 1980s bits from other comedians who were mid back then. Okay, that's the worst part. He has one voice for every black person. Anytime he wants to talk about a black person, he's doing Chris Tucker voice. Okay, from Morgan Freeman to Barack Obama, it's always the same voice. Okay, he tries to talk about like black farmers getting subsidies from the American government. And he's like, oh, Hennessy. We're going to grow Hennessy on trees. I'm like, dude, really? Like, you could have, if you're spending this much time being racist, you might as well fucking put in some goddamn work to be, like, creative about it. You know what I mean? He is not even silver too, man. He's iron. Didn't you call him the LeBron of racism yesterday, or was that something else? No, I was saying, like, they hired him because they're hiring him because, like, that's why I changed it from LeBron to Steph Curry. Like, I was making an analogy about, like, why they hired him, and also putting that, like, racism clause in his contract is silly because it's like demanding that Steph Curry, like, stop shooting 3-pointers. You know what I mean? Like, you're hiring him to shoot 3-pointers. That doesn't mean he's like the Steph Curry or the LeBron of racism, though. No, it's not even slander. It's not slander. You're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's at that level in competitive racism. I'm simply stating that he is, that's what they hired him for. The analogy was more about the racism clause in the contract rather than like the actual talent that he demonstrates on a daily basis on the courts of racism. Okay? Do you understand? Give us top 3 races. Varg is probably up there. I'd say Kanye West is doing some good work. Late season. He's a late bloomer, obviously, but he was definitely clutching it big time. Okay. Rush Limbaugh's pretty good. Rest in piss. Kanye is rookie of the year. Eric Clapton is a pretty good racist. He's high up there. He's pretty good. Anyway. All right, let's continue.
Following. And if you want to hear the actual term.
I mean, Tucker Carlson is the GOAT at racism. Like, let's be real. Exactly. If you want to talk about the LeBron of racism, that's Tucker Carlson. Straight up. I mean, that's it. He is the GOAT at racism. Number 1. The numbers that he puts up with respect to like his racist agitated propaganda is unimaginable. You know what I mean? Like, he has perfected the craft. All right, let's continue.
Terms of the term sheet, all you have to do is go to the description on this particular video or head on over to YouTube, and you can see my business partner, Jeremy, suggested that if we had essentially offered him an enslavement contract that would have robbed him of all of his freedom and made him subject to the whims of big tech and all the rest of this kind of bullshit. And it's just not true. Jeremy, unlike Stephen, read the entire text of the term sheet on the air and goes through it piece by piece and explains exactly how it works. And in short, all the contract says is, we are offering you this gigantic sum of money, and if you...
I can't believe he cursed.
...start to lose money for the company and for yourself because you lose YouTube, for example, then we both lose money, so you lose some money. Because this is typically how contracts work. On this show, for example, if I lose advertisers and the revenue of the show goes down, then I lose revenue personally because the revenue of the show has gone down. So again, if you want the details, the legalistic details of all this, you can check out Jeremy's video. It is absolutely comprehensive and irrefutable because again, he reveals, I've never seen anybody else do this, he reveals literally the entirety of the what.
If he was negotiating with the Daily Wire while he was still under contract with the Blaze, they could both be in some serious shit. No, they wouldn't. What the fuck are you talking about? No, I think like Mitt Orchard is right about this, by the way. This is another angle that I totally forgot about that I did not consider. And it also pairs with Steven Crowder not knowing what the Mug Club numbers are, what the Mug Club subscription numbers are. The Mug Club is not his. I think the Mug Club might be the Blaze's because Steven Crowder is under contract with the Blaze, which, as Jeremy Boring also pointed out, is funded by a right-wing billionaire. Just like PJ Media, which Steven Crowder used to work at, just like every other outlet that Steven Crowder has always been hired by. And when you're under the wing of like the Blaze or whatever, they probably take your whatever fucking paywall and they take the money under your and you know, all your Mug Club money goes directly to them. Why am I watching you? I don't know, because you're fucking bored. To get educated, to learn a little bit. I'm a sucker for Twitter political drama, so for anyone else with that same weak spot, I have a theory on Steven Crowder versus the Daily Blaze, Daily Wire. TLDR is actually about the Blaze. From all appearances on Crowder's Twitter TL, his email list was contractually jacked by the Blaze. Yet, unlike Daily Wire, and this email list is really important because they sell it to fucking political campaigns. If you know anything about how, you know, Conservative Inc. works, big con, conservative media, independent or not, is regularly working with political campaigns. So it's a huge, huge deal to have the most bigoted, idiotic, anti-vaxxer dickheads and have like a massive fucking email list, okay? That data is very valuable. to political campaigns. They pay, like, on the low end, $500,000 for that fucking data, okay? And unlike the Daily Wire, who only sent him a term sheet he found unacceptable, he never put the Blaze on blast. I'm presuming there must have been a solid non-disclosure disparagement clause in whatever contract he had with them. So Crowder has to try and scrounge back as much of his list as he can via his socials, and whatever number of contracts he got from that was probably amazing for a startup, but paled in comparison to the list he would have built over 10 years or whatever. Needless to say, this would feel bad. Steven Crowder, being a lifelong man baby, however, does not take life's injustices nearly as much in stride as the average 35-year-old man. Having literally no recourse against the Blaze, he instead channeled all of his anger into a fight with a new negotiating partner it looked like he wasn't going to reach agreeable terms with. As a former Mug Club member, oh my God, that's awesome. You were a Mug Club guy? I can confirm it brings you straight to blaze.tv to put your payment info in. After you sign up, you're supposed to get a Crowder mug that I never got. Thanks for reforming me, brother. I love you, Hassel. From Mug Club member to a 7-month subscriber, dude. What a fucking pipeline. Sheesh. Okay, this theory makes a lot of sense. He wanted to create a lot of hubbub, and he wanted to go crazy on the timeline in the most public fashion he could. He can't do it against the Blaze because he has contractual obligations. They will cook him, okay? He doesn't want to get held up with, like, legal trouble, even though the Blaze is not giving his email list back to him. Sam Cedar suggested that he was tampering because he was under contract while negotiating a new contract with a different entity. I mean, that kind of stuff is like, I don't care about that, to be honest. Like, what? Talking to another company about, like, potentially moving over there? Who gives a shit? Listen, Kings, if you have the opportunity to get more money from another company, you should do that. Majority Report showed a clip of a quarter pounder from December talking about how he was exhausted from being up all night helping Crowder fix his website, get new hosting, etc. Yeah, I don't give a fuck about non-compete stuff. Like, suck my dick. Free market, baby. Free market, bitch. Okay, this would sort of explain the bizarre move of starting a public fight over a contract he hasn't even made a counteroffer to, let alone signed. He did make a counteroffer, by the way, which was $140 million. Poor Steven has developed a deep-seated hatred of contracts in the conservative media sphere, but he's unable to take his hatred out on the media company that really fucked him, unable to cry about the terms you signed. Next best thing is to cry about the ones you haven't. There's no real strategy or cause here, though Crowder has probably convinced himself otherwise. He signed away a lot more than he should have with the Blaze, and that realization has basically driven him out of his mind these past few months, culminating in this shit show. Yeah. Ultimately, it is additionally funny that Steven Crowder, who makes a lot of money, far more than he deserves, absolutely, by shitting on the working class and telling working class people that they're entitled and lazy, okay, is now finding himself at the throes of having no adequate labor protection and also not being able to negotiate, even though he has leverage. So that, my friends, is pretty fucking funny. Okay? I mean, it is. This guy literally talks about how great the Supreme Court is, how great the fucking lack of labor protections in this country are. Even if he doesn't directly address it in those terms, his job, as he is working in one of the many outlets that are funded by billionaires who pay him this money to say these sorts of things, his job is basically to undermine labor protections, to make arguments against labor protections. He's so anti-labor, he used to go and troll labor union organizers, and one time he got his ass beat, actually, by a union guy. Remember that. That's how deep this his disdain for unions goes.
What was supposed to be confidential term sheet that Steven decided to partially leak for his own benefit. And this is the part that's really ugly. Okay, so the part that's really ugly is the betrayal of friendship. So last night, Steven Crowder, in response to Jeremy reading the entire term sheet and saying somehow Steven misconstrued this and is using this to attack us and launch a website called Stop Big Con, as though we are in the pocket of big tech. We are in the pocket of big tech. We who have invested literally tens of millions of dollars building alternatives to big tech. We who put up people.
Ultimately, I think this kind of conservative infighting is fire, but like I suspect that Steven Crowder gets a lot more clout from like the idiots, because like, look, ultimately everyone is stupid, right? People are very stupid. Think about the dumbest guy you know. That guy, you know, think about the dumbest guy you know, okay? Think about the average intelligent person. That means 50% of society is dumber than that guy, okay? It's a George Carlin bit, but it's true. It's true. It's just like there's a lot of dumb guys out there, okay? I myself included. I'm a dumb guy. Now, because there are more dumb guys out there than there are smart guys, okay? Steven Crowder's rhetoric and commentary is going to be more appealing to the dumb guys than, oh, hoity-toity, look at me, I'm actually a very smart Ben Shapiro. Especially on the right, which is all about shapes and colors, you know what I mean? The entire fucking right-wing rhetoric hinges on, you know, triggering your lizard brain. So, what I'm trying to say is, I think Steven Crowder picking a fight with Daily Wire made him look really bad from our perspective. But, like, there are a lot of stupid people out there who are probably saying, like, oh, Daily Wire, you guys suck. You're behaving in big corporation, in big corpo ways. Meanwhile, our boy Steven Crowder, he just wanted to be able to say the N-word and then, you know, not get banned by Daily Wire. And you fucked up. That's why I think like a lot of people like the Tim Pool watchers of the world and everyone else that's like looking at this right now in the conservative sphere is going to probably lend support to Steven Crowder. Even though on its face, I feel like, you know, crying about a $50 million contract, pretty fucking insane. Let's see what happens though.
Like Matt Walsh and Candace Owens and my show, we who have been attacked by Facebook and have been attacked in the legacy media all the time and who are routinely demonetized. Well, yes, nailed it. We were in the pocket of big tech. This was Steven's line of attack. And supposedly, this line of attack came from that term sheet, right? The idea was that the term sheet was doing the work of big tech because the term sheet suggested.
Yeah, look, they're coming after Daily Wire. Look, all the Daily Wire personalities are now defending online defending Daily Wire. It's so obvious that what Crowder said was right. If we say nothing, then our silence is confirmation of what you already believe. If we defend ourselves and our company, then that is confirmation of what you already believe. It's almost like there's literally nothing we could do or say that won't confirm what you already believe. Oh, that's so sick. If this ends up taking down the Daily Wire, that'd be so fire, dude. I fucking love that shit. I suggest job application. Just get a job application. Get a job. That's all I'm going to say. Get back to fucking work. You got a problem, get to work.
That if he got demonetized from YouTube and we both lost money, that he would also lose money. What he apparently wanted us to do was continue to pay him extraordinary sums of money, even if the show was losing money, which is called a charity. It is not called a business. The hardest thing to do in the conservative movement or anywhere else is to, one, run a successful business, and two, make a difference. We here at Daily Wire do both things. In fact, we try to generate a profit so we can continue to make a difference. And it turns out when you lose money, you don't actually have the wherewithal or the resources in order to do things, like spend enormous quantities of money making What is a Woman by Matt Walsh, or making The Greatest Lie Ever Sold by Candace Owens, or funding the investigative reporters who shift the Virginia gubernatorial race by uncovering what happens in Loudoun County, or put out good information each and every day to rebut the evils of the Biden administration. Or
I do love, like, every time they talk about their dubs, I'm like, wow, this is the stinker coalition. You know what I mean? Every dub that they talk about is just awful. Like, you don't understand. We make the shittiest documentaries you've ever seen. Okay? You don't get it. You know how hard it is to make a shitty-ass documentary? It's very hard.
Spend the
You know how hard it is to make a movie that makes $800 on release? You know how hard that is? We dumped $1 million into that. Gina Carano.
millions of dollars it takes to sue the Biden administration to stop the OSHA vax mandate or any of that kind of stuff. They cost money. And in order to make that money, you have to run a business. So you can't run a charity for your hosts. That apparently is what Stephen wanted, but Stephen decided.
You know how cops have like major they have to fund, like they have to put a pool of funds together that taxpayers, you pay for, by the way, that they know they're going to have to pay out in settlements because they can't stop themselves from like beating the shit out of innocent people. It's the same for it's the same for conservatives in the other way. They have like an offensive legal fund. I know this for a fact. I've talked to people at YouTube, okay, where Rumble, for example, sues YouTube regularly. They always lose. They always lose. Same with the Daily Wire and every other conservative outlet. They love holding people up in legal battles, specifically because if win or lose, they get the media out of it. They get like clout out of it. Like they're making it seem like they're doing something. Very strange thing. It's a very weird way to make money, I guess. I don't fucking know. I don't understand how else to describe it. This is what they do though. This is like this is a part of their like media and business strategy.
Besides that, this is supposedly his story is that he was so offended by the term sheet he just had to speak out. He had to stand up for the little guy, right? Okay, there are a bunch of problems with this. I was willing to stay silent on all of.
I'm surprised that actually generates enough profit that is worth that cause. It doesn't. None of it is about profit. None of these companies are profitable. I don't think Daily Wire is profitable. I do not believe any of these companies are profitable. They are not doing it for profit. They're doing it because it's politics. They're doing it because people will give them money regardless, no matter what happens. That's why all of these outlets are they have insane burn rates. They don't care. They can keep paying people. They can keep overpaying these fucking racist assholes because their job isn't to make money as a media outlet. Their job is to make propaganda. Their job is to also then sell data, but like their job ultimately is to sell the idea of conservatism.
All this, generally speaking, and not get into the weeds and not get into Stephen's personal conduct until the point when he personally recorded a phone call with my best friend, Jeremy Boring, and then proceeded to release that publicly. That is disgusting. It is disgusting, and it is vile on a pure human level. Jeremy, again, has gone out of his way for Stephen more times than I can count. He has counseled Stephen personally. And Stephen decided in premeditated fashion that he was going to tape his friend and then release it to grow his email list. It is that simple. And I'll show you the timeline here because the case here is that, again, this term sheet that he got, he was so offended by it, he just had to speak up. He couldn't be held back any longer. He had to speak up on behalf of the little guy. Okay, I'm going to read you the timeline of what happened during this negotiation and when he decided to tape his friend, his supposed friend, Jeremy Boring. So here is the timeline here. October 5th, 2022 is when we sent Stephen the supposedly evil term sheet. So evil. So you would imagine that if the term sheet was that evil, October 6th, he couldn't have held back. How could you guys do this? It would be just October 5th is when we sent him this term sheet offering him $50 million over 4 years plus a 2-year extension for $25 million. You know, basketball player type money. On November 2nd, Stephen called up Jeremy and said, I want $30 million a year and a bunch of changes to the term sheet. I'm not going to redline the term sheet. I'm not going to edit the term sheet. I just want you to send me a brand new offer. On November 6th, 4 days later, remember, this is after he's already sounded off. He's got the term sheet. He's had it for a month. November 6th was election night. You'll recall, if you're a Daily Wire fan, Stephen Crowder appeared on our election night coverage.
Yeah, I think, it makes sense. I think it's because his contract ended with the Blaze on December and he wanted to like make waves. You know what I mean? He wanted to like announce his independence basically. And he had no way of announcing his independency by like shitting on the Blaze because he has an NDA and a non-disparagement agreement most likely on top of that. non-disclosure and a non-disparagement agreement, most likely. So he just came after the Daily Wire, the big dogs. Because it's so stupid. He was like, this is just about allowing racism to continue. Like, because Steven Crowder was like, I am a bold truth teller. I am here to just advocate for my way of making money, which is by being racist behind a paywall, but also by being racist in front of a paywall that will subsequently get me banned. Yeah, he is out there. He's fighting for something. He's fighting for what's right for him, which is the right to say unhinged racist shit, get banned, and then still be able to, make the $50 million contract.
Everything was very friendly. Everything was very chummy. Everything was great. November 14th or thereabouts, we decided that we couldn't meet his demands, that his demands were not rational in business terms, that he wanted too much money, and all the rest of it. So we let him know, no hard feelings. We're still friends, just like we do in every contract negotiation. As Tim Pool said on his show last night, we've had contract negotiations with Tim, and we disagreed, and we went our separate ways, and we still like Tim. Tim still likes us, and all the rest. Okay, so November 14th or thereabouts, we told Steven that we couldn't meet his demands. Fast forward another month, December 12th, he registered the site Stop Big Con. Hey, that's when he registered it. Remember, October 5th is when he received the terms. November 14th is when we said we could not meet his demands. December 12th is when he registered Stop Big Con because he knew that 3 days later, he was going to be announcing that he was leaving the Blaze. He needed a plan, and attacking us was the plan. December 15th, he announced he was leaving the Blaze. A month after that, he texted Jeremy in friendly fashion to ask if they could talk. On January 9th, he called Jeremy and proceeded to tape him. Without permission, without Jeremy's knowledge, he proceeded to tape a person who was supposedly his friend. And remember, this is all based on the passion of the upset that he had over a term sheet that was submitted to him on October 5th. It is a month. It's actually 36.
Yes, we know Crowder is a hypocrite. Delusional Colin Kaepernick compares slavery to $1 million contracts. We know. Yes, he has. Again, his entire job is about telling people that they suck, like telling workers that they suck and they're lazy and they're shitheads and they're entitled. You know what I mean? He's also done this whole Colin Kaepernick bit, where Colin Kaepernick said that the NFL Combine is akin to a slave market. That's what he did. Loa, can I have a kiss? I'm a girl. My TTS donation was a scam. Perhaps I didn't read your donation because, it's better that we left it unread. You really think that was a good dono? Don't do that. Don't send a sad face. Now the whole chat's sending sad faces. Let's get back to the story.
After, January 17th is when he launches Stop Big Con. So just to get this straight, just to get the timeline straight, because this is what we would call a premeditated move in an attempt to grow your email list. This means 104 days elapsed between when Steven Crowder received the term sheet that we submitted to him and when he launched Stop Big Con. 104 days. And it means that 36 days elapsed between when he decided to attack Daily Wire and Jeremy by purchasing Stop Big Con and when he called Jeremy to tape him. So that means well over 3 months elapsed, again, between when he received this egregiously evil term sheet, which, by the way, is not egregiously evil. The term sheet is perfectly legitimate. It was the basis for further negotiation. There would have been moves on both sides, but there's nothing wrong with saying to a person who produces a show, one, you have to produce a certain number of shows, and if you don't, we're not going to pay you for the shows that you don't produce. And two, if your show begins to lose money, you also lose money. This is how business works. This is how the media works. This is how capitalism works. We are not communists. We do not pay people in order to not generate revenue. We cannot run a business and keep it functional.
That's right, baby. He's right. He's right. Except every single right-wing outlet is operating at a loss, and they're operating at a loss because their goal is not to generate money or turn profit. They are not publicly traded. Their goal is to do propaganda, and that's why Republicans will always pay handsomely for that. Okay? Yes, their job is to generate new school shooters. Their job is to create new LGBT drag brunch shooters. That's their job. Ultimately, it is profitable because it's profitable to those business owners that can continue tampering with how society operates.
Employ 300 people and have the money to spend on all the wonderful projects that we like to do, on the $100 million we're going to spend on kids content, on the suing of Joe Biden's administration, we can't do any of that stuff unless we are a profitable company. We don't pay people just for the fun of it. So that means this is totally premeditated. It is an attempt to grow an email list by deliberately misconstruing terms of a perfectly legitimate non-binding term sheet for a person that I personally and Jeremy, have gone out of our way to help multiple times. A person who then claims that we are the big...
I'm very excited for the kids' content. That's going to be really funny. I can't wait to watch that shit. Once again, all of these media ventures, including the Daily Wire, yeah, they're generating revenue, but they're not turning profit, okay? If I, as a Twitch streamer, was not a profitable business for myself, I would not be able to continue doing this, okay? Because ultimately, if I can't sustain it, not profit, but like if I was not it would not be sustainable. Oh, well, I generated this amount of revenue. Meanwhile, I can't put food on my table. Well, okay, then I die. I have to do a different job. That's how it works. These guys don't have that fear. They don't. They don't have that fear because it's not about that. They can use the revenue to say, like, look how great we are. Look how big we are. Look how much reach we have. Ultimately, and then go back to the billionaires and get funding. But having said that, maybe Daily Wire is different. They probably do generate a decent chunk of revenue, but I just don't think that they're turning a profit. Media is so expensive, dude. It's so fucking expensive. It's so expensive. Everything I know about the media pivoted after getting schooled by chatter. What? Every time someone uses lol in the chat, I just, like, it's always the worst fucking take I've ever heard. Like, it's always just the dumbest. Copega Daily Wire going down. Like, just go back to watching Forsen, bro. What the fuck are you doing here? Like, why are you here? Communists celebrating political violence here. Omega lol. Fucking, you're not getting saved, okay? Your brain is too rotted. I'm sorry. Go back to enjoying Steven Crowder's commentary. You absolute fucking loser. Jesus Christ.
Shills for YouTube.
Anyway.
Right? We're the ones who are shilling for big tech. So what's his claim on that? His claim is that we're shilling for big tech.
Like, my statement is backed by what Jeremy Boring, the CEO of Daily Wire, quite literally fucking stated, which is that every single one of these right-wing outlets are funded by billionaires. So they don't have the need to turn profit. Daily Wire is different is what he's claiming, but I don't think it's different, especially because they are funded by billionaires. We know that they're funded by billionaires. The Wilkes brothers that pumped all their funds into PragerU, that made PragerU basically, which is now owned by the Daily Wire, for the record. They are subsidizing the Daily Wire as well.
By by saying that if you get banned from YouTube and we lose money because of that, then you also lose money. Well, I noticed that someone else makes the vast bulk of his living via the exposure he receives on YouTube, and his name is Steven Crowder. Steven has a bigger following on YouTube than I do. He has a massive following on YouTube. He's a YouTube superstar. He has 6 million followers on YouTube. He doesn't want to be banned on YouTube. By the way, he doesn't have to be demonetized in order to continue. The demonetization does not mean that he doesn't indirectly make money on YouTube. The exposure he receives on YouTube allows him to push people to Mug Club. He knows this. This is why he has a pissed off YouTube.
Yeah, dude, they're leaking it. They're leaking the thing. Oh my God, everything I've been saying, they're just openly admitting. It's so awesome. This is refreshing. This is refreshing. It's refreshing to see. These guys rely on getting banned because when you get banned, you get media coverage and your audience, like Republicans love that shit. They're like, oh, we're under attack. How do we support you? You just got banned for racism. How can we offer you support, Steven Crowder, is what like all these fucking hogs say. And then they're like, oh, go to Mug Club. Go to the subscription method. It's awesome. It's great.
Segment, which is smart, right? He does the same thing on his show that I do on my show. Exactly the same.
The message, yeah, exactly. The message is always, the method is the same. Be racist, get banned, drive traffic to your, unfiltered, more unhinged and more racist content behind a paywall and, keep making money that way. That's it. That's it. That's how it works. Rinse and repeat. Now, for that reason, though, I understand Steven Crowder's side. Steven Crowder's like, brother, you can't put a clause in the contract about me getting banned when, like, whenever I get banned, your subscription numbers are going to pop off. What the fuck do you mean? How are you going to tell me that one of my key elements of, like, generating revenue is also going to cut off my revenue? That isn't what Crowder said, though, lol. Of course, Crowder didn't openly say that, but it doesn't matter because that is what it is, you fucking idiot. What do you mean? But of course, if you're conservative, you're too stupid to understand. If you're conservative, you are literally too stupid to understand this, okay? I'm not saying you are, but if you're fucking defending Crowder here, you must be conservative to a certain degree. Holy fuck.
Same thing. You will hear me on the show when I discuss COVID. I'm about to say a bunch of things I can't say on YouTube. So head on over to Daily Wire Plus and subscribe and hear the rest of it.
Disagree equals conservative equals stupid. I mean, yeah, it is true for the most part. Yes. Now, this isn't the same for someone like myself, for example. When I get banned, I'm cooked because I don't have like a secondary mode of generating revenue. You know what I mean? I'm not like saying cracker on the platform and then getting banned and then going, hey, if you want to hear all of the fucking anti-white things I want to say, like come join the fucking Mug Club. You know what I mean? The HasanAbi Mug Club. And then I can say all of my unhinged shit there, you know? That's not how that works. But that is exactly how that works for Steven Crowder and the like. E-celebs weigh in on Steven Crowder. Tim Cass is doing shorts now. Okay.
Steven does the same thing. He says, I'm going to have my piss off YouTube segment in which he avoids saying the things that will get him permanently banned on YouTube, but directs people to his site. So is he a shill for big tech? Is he a shill for big tech? Because if he were really not a shill for big tech, apparently, he would just say whatever he wants any day. He would just say it any day. And if they knock him off, they knock him off. But he's not doing that because he's not a moron. Steven's not a moron. He apparently is just a bad person who tapes his friends and then releases the tapes for personal gain. I'm personally insulted by Steven's behavior here. I'm more insulted. It has nothing to do with me because he hasn't actually said anything about me. It has to do with you don't get to attack my best friend and suggest that my best friend is some sort of shill for big tech.
Aw, this is about friendship. Aw. It's about friendship. That's my friend. You came after my best friend.
Tech, when we spend every day, literally every day in this business, attempting to fight big tech and to win, when you spend every day trying to bring good content to people who can't get it in a lot of other ways and build a business, who go out of our way to make offers to people for tens of millions of dollars so they can continue to promote, to provide the content that you want, tens of millions of dollars to people like Steven Crowder. I don't see a lot of other people walking across the table to make this offer to Steven Crowder. The easiest thing to do in our particular industry is to attack your friends and make money off of that. The hardest thing to do in our industry is to win at business and to win against the left, and those two things are simultaneous. Because if you lose money, you can't keep operating and fight the agenda of the left. You know, it makes me nauseous to be talking about this, honestly. It makes me sick to be talking about this.
It makes him nauseous. Let's get to stuff that doesn't make me sick. A 14-year-old trans child wanted to play football the other day. Let's talk about that. How can we kill them? Like that's, let's talk instead about things that truly matter. How can we get this trans teenager to kill themselves immediately? The singular trans girl in the state of Utah deserves the death penalty. How do we make it happen?
I'm sad for Steven that he feels the necessity to plan for.
Not gonna lie, I hate how convincing he sounds. Sometimes I kind of get how people get indoctrinated by him. Yes, because we're all stupid. We're all stupid. We hear someone with convictions speak confidently and eloquently, and we say, oh my God, this guy's got it. He must be right to a certain degree. Conservatives also, on top of that, benefit from societal foundations being slanted in their direction, okay? All of the systems that we exist under throughout history and even in contemporary society have a right-wing slant. Progress is constantly fighting against that, okay? Sometimes bouldering against that. Sometimes losing against that change. And for that reason, if you can talk and come across confident and say, it's just pure, basic sensibilities here. It's common sense. Most people will still turn around and go, wait a minute. It is kind of common sense. That's how the shit works. That's why I always say it's like much easier to be a conservative commentator as well. Can you give an example of that in society currently? I mean, the greatest example I can give you, which is like almost cliche at this point, is the abortion ban, right? The criminalization of abortion in red states. That's it. That is like an objectively insane reactionary move that is undemocratic in every sense of the word. There you go. Most people are transphobic. That's another one. If you want to understand it from like social issues, most people are transphobic because we have rigid gender binaries that we have been taught since birth. Doesn't matter if it's antiquated. Doesn't matter if it's actually culturally irrelevant in the grand scheme of things, as a matter of fact. SF Dubs, thank you for the 20 gifted subs. Ultimately, people just have that sensibility. We live under a capitalist system, so people believe that like hard work and meritocracy exists. So any kind of message that you cut against that is going to have to basically prove the point that meritocracy is a lie. But most people's starting point is that meritocracy is not a lie. You get it? Biology is not socially made. See, this guy's still talking about biology when we're not talking about biology. We're talking about gender. Gender has nothing to do with biology. Gender is a social construct. But a lot of people's starting position is this because it's been smashed together from the jump. Yes, Chomsky talks about this as well. The burden of proof is always on people that are going against the norms. That's why it's much more difficult to do leftist agitative propaganda, because you have to look at the inherent contradictions and explain to people that they're mad at the wrong things when everyone who do get paid like a lot of fucking money, like Ben Shapiro, is working to tell you, no. Don't focus on the real reasons as to why you're angry or why you're fucked over at your place of work. Focus on the only 14-year-old in Utah, in the state of Utah, that is a trans girl that wants to swim at the swim meet. Does that move the needle? Does that change your life? Let's say that trans girl kills herself, okay? Did that dramatically improve your life in any meaningful capacity? Did you get any kind of material restitution? No. Are you going to sleep better at night? No. You didn't do anything. But these fucking assholes tell you every day that will improve your life. That's the thing you should be mad about. And they do it very successfully. Because people don't want to notice the sad truths of their existence, the cold, hard truths of their existence. They don't want to recognize that. It's easier to feel sedated. And in a weird way, when you have an outlet, when you have a decent vector of your anger, especially when you're a fucking loser, and it's much easier to shit on those who have less than you, that outlet of your anger becomes an easy target. You can just rest easy knowing that you're just, I guess, doing the right thing, trying to change society.
Months, apparently, to attack his friends, to try to grow an email list in the most cynical possible fashion, and tape his friends on the phone, and then release that public. Who does that? Who does that? Is that something you do? I mean, let me just ask you on a personal level. Have you ever done that? Have you ever taped your friends? Is that a thing that you do?
Dr. Felipe 89, HasanAbi, to reinforce your argument further, I didn't learn the difference between sex and gender until med school, lol. Yeah, there you go.
You text your friend just so you can set them up on tape. And then you selectively release parts of the tape to try to make them look bad. It fails, by the way. And you lie about the terms that you are offered in order to grow your email list and look like the truest conservative in all the land. The man who's truly standing up, while, by the way, not being banned from YouTube. He explicitly says on his show that he does not say things on YouTube, so he will not be banned on YouTube. But when we say the same thing to him, apparently it's super bad. Or alternatively, this is one of the all-time planned attacks for monetization I have ever seen. And doing it by attacking a person like Jeremy, who's been extremely kind to Stephen, is just vile at the highest possible level. It's personally repulsive. It's absolutely repulsive. We'll get to more on this in just 1 second. First, if the past couple of years have taught us anything, it's that in a crisis-like situation, it can be very difficult to come by the... So she ran away by according to bureaucrats, refused to return her to her...
All right, and then they move on to some like random irrelevant shit.
Wokeness.
Let's hear from Candace